The following is rated S for spoilers.
There's more to life than your farm, Owen. He needs to see that. There's a whole galaxy out there.
I'm asking you to leave us alone, Ben. I mean it.
Is he okay?
You don't care if he's okay. You care if he's showing.
It's my responsibility, Owen.
Well, I'm his uncle.
We talked about this. When the time comes, he must be trained.
Like you trained his father?
Hello and welcome to the Popcorn Hangover. My name is Alex.
My name is Graham.
Today we are talking Obi-Wan Kenobi, or as I still refer to it, just Kenobi, because that was a much better title.
Yeah.
Graham, how you doing this week?
Doing good, man. Doing good. I'm glad to be back.
Yeah.
I'm excited for this.
You got your Star Wars shirt on and everything.
I know. I'm actually really excited about the shirt, but yeah.
Graham, what were your thoughts on Obi-Wan Kenobi?
I liked it. I liked it a lot more than I thought I would, honestly. I was like hyped for it. Like we all were hyped for it when it was like before it came out. And as I was watching it, I actually it was a little slower pace than I initially thought it would be. And I think I liked it a lot more because of that.
Interesting.
I really liked the story that it kind of took. I mean, it was weird. Like a lot of things I was just like I don't understand like why we were watching it. Like I enjoyed like every minute of it though. It was fun to watch. I enjoyed it a lot.
I think we're going to have some differing opinions.
Yeah.
Overall, I did enjoy it.
Yeah.
It was fun. Here's the thing that I think was interesting. If you take out all the credits, all the recaps and everything, if you just have the actual content,
Yeah.
it is a little under 4 hours.
Bro, that's ridiculous.
And this
For
was
a
initially
6-episode series.
This was initially supposed to be a movie. So I feel like they wrote a really great movie.
Yeah.
And then Solo came out and they're like, nope, we're not doing movies anymore. And then Mando was like, oh, wait, people like these shows.
Yeah.
And then they just took that script and Disney was like, nope, that's not
Too
long
short.
enough. We're not doing movies, we're doing shows. So okay, cool. We're going to add this random like side plot with Reva and we're going to do all this random stuff that doesn't make any sense. Here you go. And then that's what they made. Because overall, I don't know, like I didn't have time to watch it all the way through a second time. I just watched it the one.
Right.
But I went back on TikTok. Every night we would do instant reaction videos to our thoughts and everything. So we want to hear our individual thoughts, or thoughts on individual episodes as opposed to the series as a whole. Follow us on TikTok.
Yeah.
But I was going through and listening to all of those, which for starters, I need to start drinking energy drinks because it's like 3 a.m. and I'm so tired.
I say, yeah, you watch this when they drop. Like
Yes.
that. Yeah. The
Or
middle of the
like,
night.
and then like, Miss Marvel on top of that. So it's like 4 a.m. by the time I'm getting some of those out. Anyway, I was watching those and like the common trend that I found was if it's Obi-Wan related or Darth Vader related, solid. I'm here for it. It was amazing.
Yeah.
But anything else, I just didn't care.
Yeah. I liked the whole like Leia, saving Leia kind of thing, but it also like the first like 4 episodes like really did just feel like I know they just totally baited Obi-Wan with Leia, like that was the whole reason for it, but like I would have loved to definitely see more Anakin, like more like Darth Vader stuff, not like Darth Vader's just there to get Obi-Wan or like you see him for like 5 seconds in one episode. Like I would have loved if he actually had like dialogue and like scenes for himself. I feel like that would have been really dope. And they definitely didn't need as much Leia stuff. And
I think the Leia stuff was okay. I agree. I think especially towards like the back half, it was just kind of, she wasn't there. And then, oh no, like, how are we going to fix these wires? Let's send this child who probably doesn't know anything about fixing wires.
I saw, those like Star Wars is really good about sending like small creatures or children into small areas. They showed like the clip of Mando sending Grogu and like the ship to fix it.
Or like even the whole like Lola thing, like,
yeah,
that was just such a weird plot device. I don't know. It's Star Wars.
That little droid is cute though. I love droids. Like, I don't know, like any of the droids that I've seen from the games, from the movies, they're so dope and like normally kind of well done. Like,
yeah. Fun fact, I didn't know this, but Carrie Fisher had a dog or a cat, or she had a pet, and its name was Lola. Yeah,
that's why. Sick.
Yeah, that's why they
cute.
did that. So that was a cool little homage to that. Yeah, I don't know. She was fine. Like at the beginning, I hated her. She was so annoying.
Yeah.
I didn't hate her. There were just moments where I was like seriously?
Yeah.
Especially the whole Home Alone forest Alderaan sequence. Like,
Oh my gosh, that was horrible.
are you? I shouldn't be like laughing hysterically at this. This isn't.
Yeah.
This is not the vibe.
Yeah.
I don't know. I didn't mind Leia too much. My biggest problem was Reva.
Yeah.
I did not like her, and I feel like I need
A
to.
lot of people didn't like her character.
Well, I feel like I need to like emphasize it has nothing to do with Moses Ingram. It's just the way she was written was awful.
Yeah.
I don't know. I said it in my first episode reaction. Like, a lot of writers struggle with writing strong female characters, because 99% of the time, if it's a strong female character, they just an asshole all the time.
Right.
Like they're not likable. They're just terrible human beings.
Yeah.
And you don't. That's not.
It's not what you're going for.
Yeah, you don't have to be terrible to be strong and female. But anyway, I don't know. I didn't care for her.
Yeah.
And again, I was probably watched the whole thing, but like in 3 or 4, I said something about how like I feel like she isn't a Jedi, and there's all these signs that like I thought she was gonna be some like random kid that like the Inquisitors picked up and they were bullying her because of it. And they got this whole like twist that no, she was actually
She survived
a youngling
the slaying of
out of
yeah.
just out of nowhere, and then episode 6, she's like, I'm gonna go kill Luke because she somehow put that together that it's Vader's son.
Yeah, her the only person in the entire galaxy for several years is the only person to ever tie like Leia to Obi-Wan or either of those kids to Vader. With what? Like how? Like I don't understand why they gave her that knowledge. Like
Yeah, well,
because like no one else literally in like the history of Star Wars really put 2 and 2
I don't care
together.
that she knows. It's just the fact that like I don't understand how she put 2 and 2 together
That's
with
what
the
I'm
information she had.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay, yeah.
Like everyone, it seemed like almost anyone or any of the Inquisitors could have easily gotten that information as well. I guess none of them were like dead set, like fixed on getting Obi-Wan, but like I don't get it. When I was like, how did she?
And I understand that Luke, they told Luke it was like some Tuskens and that he never actually saw her, but also like I feel like he probably should have heard a lightsaber and like seen the red light.
Right.
I don't know. The whole problem with that sequence, and I think in general, it's not a major issue, but an issue it had was you have stuff. We know how it all ends, right? And so when you're doing something like this, you have to change the way you deal with stakes. It has to be this, like in Rogue One, for example, we know they all have to die because where are they, right?
Right.
And so the stakes aren't necessarily are they going to survive or anything like that. It's
How are they gonna die?
it's not how they're going to die. It's just the stakes are bigger than them, right?
Yeah.
They have to figure like how are they going to get these plans to the rebels, and like there's bigger stakes than just them, and it makes it more interesting.
Because a part of me, like, I totally understand. Because like I was like watching that final episode, and I was like, dude, she's gonna just slaughter like Luke. Like she's gonna. And then I was like, literally, no, she's not. We have all of the movies. Like, yeah, I just.
Yeah, just stakes were a problem with this. And even like, and I think if the original trilogy didn't exist, I think it would be fine because, I mean, the Vader Obi-Wan fight was phenomenal.
Yeah.
I loved it.
It was so good.
It was really good. It kind of ended the exact same as Revenge of the Sith. Like we went through this whole journey to get to that fight sequence.
Yeah.
And it kind of just played out exactly like what we've already seen. We're in the same spot.
Right.
Why did, and I just feel like there wasn't enough thought that went into making this an addition to like continuing this. It wasn't continuing this. It wasn't furthering the story. I'll put it that way.
Right.
It was just, we're going to make some things happen because fan service.
Yeah. They serviced a fan, which was me. Not gonna lie, it was fun to watch, but that's the thing. It's
yeah, and like I mean, especially those last 2 episodes.
dude.
2 things I said every time was like, was I screaming full of excitement? Yes, I was. Like, did it have issues? Yes. And like people would ask me like, oh, what'd you think of the new episode? And I'd always say like, There was some really weird stuff that I did not like, and that was objectively pretty bad.
Yeah.
But
For the most part,
Obi-Wan and Darth Vader, it makes up for. Like, I don't know. I'm really conflicted, like going back and forth. And honestly, like looking at some of the like the reception, it seems like a lot of people are also kind of conflicted.
Yeah.
Rotten Tomatoes has an 83. This was, I think, the most interesting stat. The critic score was 83%, and the audience score was 63%.
Which that's what I remember from like episode to episode coming out, and it was getting rated, and like each individual and like the series as a whole, like the audience score was like stupid low, like almost always.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't really dive in and see if there was a bunch of like just
Like
episode bombing or anything like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was surprised because this is definitely like.
I feel like anyone that I've talked to that watches like enjoyed it a solid amount. Like of course there's things wrong with it, what we're talking about, but I feel like you wouldn't go like just do like a bomb rating on it. Like,
Yeah, I don't know. It was. Yeah, I was surprised by that. IMDb has an average, and these are series averages.
Yeah.
Has a score of 7.2. It has a Metascore of 73, and Letterboxd gave it a 3.5. So
those are fair.
like, yeah, it's all kind of like just in the middle. Like, I feel like, and I think that's the reason I think that's interesting is because there's so much positivity coming out of like moments from the show.
Right.
But like objectively, the show isn't great. The story isn't great. I think that's how I'll put that.
Yeah.
Kind of back to what I was saying about Riva because I forgot to mention it. So like I'm pretty sure this is based off of the script for the theatrical release, the movie.
Right.
I have a feeling that Riva was actually just Darth Vader because at the end of the day, they're kind of, and at the end, like Palpatine is like, "Why are you obsessed with Kenobi? Like, just let him go." And that was kind of Riva's whole thing.
Right.
Why didn't you just make it Vader? That's all we cared about.
Like I would have loved to see, especially like imagine if Vader really did like order like the kidnapping of Leia, bringing her in. Like that would have been like a little like, whoa, kind of thing.
That would have been a little much.
It definitely would have been a
too
little much, but I feel like it just, I don't know.
Because
I would have
at that point, Vader would have figured it out.
Oh, for sure. But does he already know? You think he doesn't know?
No, he doesn't know.
Oh, okay. I just don't know.
He doesn't know.
Yeah.
It's in the. It's established that he finds out between 4 and 5.
Okay.
But speaking of things that are established, of all the things that I've said,
Yeah.
there is one thing that irks me more than anything.
I have a feeling I know what you're gonna say, but I'm gonna let you.
Probably. Whole series, we have this whole Qui-Gon, talk to me, Master, talk to me. We're building up to this great Qui-Gon moment. And first off, there's a lot of great moments he could have shown up.
Yeah.
But they waited until the end and he'd just be like, "Hey dude, like, took you a while." Like, that was the worst payoff of all time.
100%.
Secondly, Qui-Gon never learned how to Force Ghost. He was just he died. He was an embodied spirit. He learned how to like he learned how to like put his spirit into the Force, but he could never put it
Project
into a
himself
form.
yeah.
That's why he didn't like disappear. They burned his body.
Yeah.
He's not a Force Ghost. He taught Yoda how to do it, and then Yoda taught Obi-Wan.
Right.
I understand you got Liam Neeson and you want to show him, but
Yeah.
no.
Yeah.
That made me very upset.
I was excited to see him. I really was, just because overall, I absolutely love Qui-Gon Jinn. Like he was,
Right.
like that is one of my favorite characters, even though he's only ever in the one movie. But I didn't actually expect to see him at all. When I did see him at the end, I was like a little thrown off, but it was more or less like, oh, that's dope. Like we got to see him. Mm-hmm. No, I didn't really think anything of that, but because like the whole time he was talking to him, and I was like, if he shows up, like when he's talking to him, cool. But like when he just showed up at the end, I was just like, what the, yeah.
No, I was totally expecting it. I really thought it was gonna be when Vader buried Obi-Wan. I thought you were
like,
gonna
hear the
get
voices or something, and
I thought we were gonna get like a Rey in the Rise of Skywalker situation.
I'm
for
so glad they
Qui-Gon.
didn't. That's kind of what I thought was gonna happen. I was just like, like if only it was Qui-Gon's voice, yeah. Because like I know he was hearing like
I think
all
you
the-
could have
like,
kept
Leia's
it
voice
pretty
and,
much the same, but then just like add Qui-Gon's voice in there,
like right at the end,
it's
being like get up
because
and then
to be honest, it is just as much, if not more, Qui-Gon's fault that all this happened than it is Obi-Wan's. And I mean, that's why it's called Duel of the Fates. Like, that's what makes the Phantom Menace, when you think about it, that's what makes it so incredible, is that final fight is kind of, I mean, if Qui-Gon didn't die, if Qui-Gon survived and he killed Maul, Anakin would have had proper training from, I don't want to say a proper master, but Qui-Gon was just, he was a weird dude, and like, he would have done a better job at training. Not that Obi-Wan did a bad job, but like, I don't know, Qui-Gon, in terms of lore, Qui-Gon was like very, like, he would speak out against the council. Like, I don't think the Clone Wars would have happened
for sure
the way it did if Qui-Gon was still alive, and like stuff like that. So it's just as much Qui-Gon's fault. I mean, I don't know. I don't want to say it's his fault that he died.
Yeah, I'd say he could have really controlled that.
Yeah, I don't know. I think Qui-Gon could have been an element of, hey, like, this is also on me. Like, I made you train this kid, and look what happened. I don't know.
Yeah,
was not a fan of Qui-Gon.
That's understandable.
We've been pretty negative so far, but we did both really enjoy this show.
Yeah.
What was like, other than that last fight sequence? Because I think, I mean, that's the obvious one. What were some of your favorite moments in the show?
One that I've always like thought back to that I don't know why I really, really liked when he went and saved Leia and they were like running out of the base and he's in that hallway and like he's got the door shut and they're like prying the door open and that bullet like hits the glass and like just seeing the pure struggle of like him still not having full control again. Like, I don't know, that was really interesting to see him like just struggling to hold the glass up and then like trying to fight them at the same time. That was like a dope scene for me to like just sit there. Yeah, that was really I enjoyed that a lot.
Yeah, I think in general my favorite episode was episode 3, and I don't know why I forgot about it until I was rewatching my TikToks. But like, there was this weird moment where like they like meet the farmer or whatever.
Yeah,
and like he's like an Imperial like support and everything. And I just thought about like modern real life world where like that is totally something that happens. Like,
yeah,
I don't know if it was meant to be political or anything, but like that's just all I could think of was like, wow, like a lot of people are like, man, like regardless of who you support, like there's such a crazy divide right now that like there are good people but don't agree with what you believe in, and you think that the person believes in terrible things. But like, I don't know, it was just, I don't know why I loved it so much, but I did. That I don't know. I don't want to say it's my favorite moment, but like it was
just one of the ones that
it was something that I thought was cool that they did.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I think to wrap up kind of like all of our thoughts, like the only thing that makes Obi-Wan so weird is it has all of the best parts of Mando, which is like, you know, telling a different side of the story. Like it has really great fan service, and we're kind of seeing some of that. But it also has like the worst parts of Boba Fett, where like there's just these weird plot holes, and it has more direction than Boba Fett did. Boba Fett just felt like we don't know what we want to do, so here's like 3 different stories from 3 different periods of time, and like Boba Fett was a mess. But like it had more direction than that. But I don't know. I just there was still just weird stuff that was going on.
Right.
Yeah, and in general, I think the thing that it's so weird to me about this show. I've said a lot of weird things about it, but like the thing I can't wrap my mind around is just the amount of potential you have for Obi-Wan. I mean, he's a beloved character, and you have a long period of time to talk about. And they didn't do anything particularly new. So like it has elements of the other 2 shows, but even like that hallway scene, there's almost an identical scene in Jedi Fallen Order, the video game. Towards the end, they break into the Inquisitor's fortress. He's in he swims into it just like Obi-Wan. He's in the hallway. The glass breaks. You have to hold it. Like it was kind of the exact same. I've seen it before.
That's dope.
When Obi-Wan / Vader's helmet, I saw that in Rebels. It was really great how they did it and how his voice was changing. And again, like we could talk about all like that whole sequence over and over, but if you're on the internet, you've heard it, the same thing said a million times. So we're not gonna. I don't think there's any point in wasting our breath talking about it again.
Yeah.
It was really cool, but like I've seen it before. Like there was just so many things where I was like, I've seen this a million times. Whereas with Mando, there's a ton of stuff
It was
that
totally fresh. It felt,
yeah, like it just there's so much new, and even when it would go back like to Clone Wars or whatever, like seeing Bo-Katan like live action was like
That was-
Ahsoka live action was just
both of those are huge.
Yeah.
Man. That was, yeah.
So to wrap up our review segment, there's a lot of talk right now about a season 2. What are your thoughts?
I don't know. Here's the thing. I think it kind of falls back to we don't need it. I don't think they should do it.
No.
If they did it, it'd be cool. I know it would be done fairly well. At least I'd hope it would be. But I don't.
I mean, I think it'd be treated with some care. The problem is, like, I don't know where they would go other than Maul. And I don't want them to touch the Maul fight from Rebels because it's perfect.
Yeah. Unless they literally just did the same thing live action, I don't think anyone could play. And it would have to be literally identical. But at that point, they're literally just using the exact same.
But again,
exactly.
It's well, and the other problem too is the whole point is that Maul and Kenobi haven't spoken. They don't. Maul's been hunting Kenobi. He doesn't know where he's at.
Right.
So you can't really make a show out of that.
Yeah. I don't know. I kind of, one part of me for this series, I kind of wish, what's her name? Reva would have died at the end. I don't know why she was still alive.
Yeah, sidetrack.
Kind of pointless.
No, it wasn't pointless. It was, let's gauge how well people like this character. So we're going to leave it open-ended so we can bring her back.
Every single person, though, that gets stabbed. Have you seen that whole joke?
Yes.
Yeah. Only person that can is the Obi-Wan or Qui-Gon, but I'm thumbs down right now for season 2. I don't think it's.
I mean, the most concerning thing is when Kathleen Kennedy was asked, was like, it's a limited series, but like if there's enough interest, we'll make a season 2. That's that's no bueno. Here's my pitch for season 2 though.
Okay.
If they do, and honestly, there's probably gonna be a season 2. Let's be real. Here's my pitch. So we're gonna jump forward a little bit.
Okay.
How
far forward? Older Obi-Wan?
It's an older Obi-Wan.
Okay.
And he's out doing Obi-Wan things, and he hears some noise, and he runs over, and he sees an older young adult Luke. He's being attacked by Tuskens, and who's with Luke? Oh, hey, that's R2-D2 and C-3PO. I know those droids. So he goes down and he saves Luke, and Luke's like, I don't know, I'm trying to fix this droid, and R2's like, hey, I've got a message, and it's Leia, and she's like, help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi, you're my only hope. And he's like, oh, hey, I gotta go save Leia again. And so they go to the Death Star and they save Leia, and then he sacrifices himself at the end for the betterment of the group. And the end.
I hate you a lot because you really had me going at the beginning, and then I was just like, we've already had this. And I was like, oh yeah, we've already had that.
Yes.
There's no reason for season 2.
Let's not do it, please.
And so far, I've got to admit, with Star Wars being in the hands of Disney, they've done everything fairly well, pretty respective to the.
We got a terrible trilogy. We've gotten one really great show, and we've gotten. They canceled an amazing show for starters. They canceled Clone Wars. Oh, they did bring it back for another season after years, but they did cancel it. A terrible trilogy. One really great show, one mediocre one, and one really bad one. I guess you also have Bad Batch in there. I'd call that.
I'd say Bad Batch is good.
Mediocre. It's like
if they just would have
it's not excellent, but it's
Omega.
Yeah, Disney has. I don't think Disney has not handled Star Wars well.
That's fair, actually.
I don't know. I think in general, to wrap up this segment for real this time, I think one of the big issues with this show is like, this was made for fans, right? Like, there's so much fan service in the show, and like that's what I think everyone is talking about and what everyone's excited about.
Yeah.
And story kind of took a hit.
For sure.
So when we come back, we're going to talk more about just fan service in general. Fan service in this, fan service in other mediums, what we think about fan service. We're fans of things. We definitely...
we enjoy it.
We have some thoughts on fan service.
Yeah.
So stay tuned and we'll be right back.
Dude, I'm so glad we're doing this.
Yeah, for sure. It's been a lot of fun, and it's not as difficult as I thought it would be.
No, not at all. Like Anchor has made it especially easy when it comes to like actually getting our podcast out on the air. Because when hosting on Anchor, you can distribute your podcast on all the listening platforms. So easy getting it over to Spotify, getting it to Apple, wherever you're trying to get your podcast to.
Yeah, I think we're on like 7 platforms just through Anchor, and not even just the distribution, but even just creating the podcast. Like there's so many recording and editing tools within it, so you can record, edit, add music in, sound effects, all sorts of things directly through Anchor, and it is free.
Dude, that's amazing.
It's incredible. So if you would like to start your own podcast, just like ours, go to anchor.fm on your desktop device, or you can go on to your mobile app store and download the Anchor app. We are back.
We're back.
Talking Obi-Wan Kenobi. I always like, because you don't wear headphones, and so I always like just like to wait, and you're like waiting on the camera, like waiting for it to start.
I know, because I just know when you press that. I don't know.
You don't know when I'm gonna go.
Right. I know in the beginning, I don't know why, because I can't hear it anymore, but I know I could for sure like hear a little coming through the headphones of like when the music would be playing, and I would kind of have like an idea when to start or like things like that. But now you just like unmute and get that ready, and I'm just like, and go. Like.
Anyway, we were talking in the break. We didn't really go over our fun facts,
our financials.
So Obi-Wan Kenobi was directed by Deborah Chow, which I think another just talking point in general is this is the first Disney Plus show not done by Dave Filoni or Jon Favreau.
Whoa. Yeah, I didn't even realize that.
I thought Deborah Chow did a fine job.
Yeah.
She did. Yeah, she did good. It seemed like it had a more of a writer's room style in terms of writing. It was a writer's room.
Sure.
Starring Ewan McGregor, Buzz Ingram, Vivian Lila Blair, and Hayden Christensen.
My dad. Not gonna lie, I did not realize how old that man is.
Yeah, it was.
I mean, he looks great. Don't get me wrong, but like seeing him, I was just like, wow, dude, like they are way old. Because like I picture him as like.
I mean, that was 20 years ago.
I know. And like that doesn't ever hit me until I'm just like, shoot. Or like I see I see all of them on like their talk shows and like interviews and stuff. And I'm just like, wow, that is a big difference.
Yeah.
Nothing bad. Nothing wrong with that. But it just, always throws me for a little shook.
I think honestly, it doesn't really matter that Hayden Christensen was there, but like,
right.
And maybe if I didn't know, I wouldn't say this, but it just felt different. Like,
I have a question for you.
I have an answer.
With the kind of like the flashback, the little training flashback where we got the two of them going at it. Mm-hmm. What was the vibe in that scene?
What do you mean?
Like, was that like kind of like a more like lighthearted kind of like training thing? I don't know. Like for a part of me, just felt like I was like watching that. Anakin just seemed like angry and like kind of aggressive with it, like not really, and like Obi-Wan was more like,
well, yeah, because that's
going with the. I know, but then like
Anakin is.
Everyone was just like, oh, like seeing their banter, and like but like I just saw like all these reviews like to Twitter and Reddit stuff, and I was like, oh, I love seeing that again. Like they were great, like they were probably like so happy, like training and all this stuff, and I was just like, they didn't seem happy. Like that was so like aggressive. I was like tense for me, more or less than just like a.
I feel like that was
fun little flashback.
I feel like if you watched just the flashback, you would think differently.
Yeah.
Because you're also. That's like also being paired with Vader and Obi-Wan trying to kill each other.
Right.
So,
well, no,
maybe,
I know.
Maybe that's why you got that vibe. Maybe you just latched onto that one aspect.
And I definitely did, because I was just watching that and I was just like waiting for like someone to do something or something to happen with someone and someone. I was just like, I know he's not really to the dark side yet at this point. He hasn't been like really pushed during that training. So
my problem with it. I mean, it's cool that they made it like, episode 2, Attack of the Clones-ish.
Whipped out that ponytail.
They should have I just want to see the Clone Wars armor live action. That's all I want.
On Obi-Wan?
On both of them.
Yeah.
That's all I want.
Yeah. We're not going to get it.
I know.
I want it so bad.
I want it more than anything.
Yeah.
Or whenever like there was like the homeless clone. I was like, oh,
I know.
Can we see, like, you got Tamora Morrison coming in just whenever now, apparently.
For anything needed.
Can we just get Clone Wars flashback, please? Bro. Anyway, So an interesting tidbit that I found. So it says an estimated budget of $90 million.
Okay. Large sum of cash.
A nice chunk of change. But what's interesting is it's 10 million less than Mando and Boba. So I don't know. I don't really have anything. They felt similar.
Yeah.
I do think that the other two, I don't want to say they feel more expensive, but they felt bigger. But also they're different styles, different creative teams.
Yeah.
I would have given, I don't know. I think they did a good, I don't think that 10 million really hurt anything.
Right.
One thing I could think of is like the final scene was on a pretty boring planet. There wasn't a lot going on.
Yeah, it was pretty bare.
Yeah. And I think that's why there's so many cuts in the action sequence as opposed to like Mustafar where you have all this stuff going on in the background. You have time to just let the fight breathe in one take.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think that had much of a difference, but the thing that I thought was really interesting was Moon Knight and Miss Marvel both had budgets of over 150 million.
Yeah.
And the reason I think that's interesting is because we have Kenobi and Miss Marvel coming at the same time, we can see I can see stats of like how the two are comparing with each other just from our own personal channel. Miss Marvel instant reactions get 5 times plus more views than Obi-Wan Kenobi, which is really interesting to me.
Super interesting, yeah.
So,
especially because it doesn't really do too well compared to like viewership on the actual app, right? Compared to like Kenobi and other shows that have come out, or has it held its ground pretty well?
I don't know.
Okay, because I thought like I saw like an article or something. I can't remember where, but I'm pretty sure that like Miss Marvel is like one of the like lowest ranking like Disney shows when it comes to like viewership and like the amount of people actually tuning into that like on like release days and like things like that.
Yeah, but the problem you have to think about is like with a show like, especially with a show like that, there aren't a ton of spoilers in each episode,
right?
And a lot of people just want to watch it all the way through.
Yeah, that's fair.
So I mean, yeah, I don't really care about week to week numbers in that regard.
Yeah.
Even though I just did mention a week to week number that I thought was interesting, but I find it interesting just because it's a cool parallel to see the difference between the two, and I wonder if this is. I mean, you're talking off air, like I think we talked about on the show. I don't know how Disney Plus justifies
dropping both on one night, or are you talking about the
justifies like spending this much money,
dude?
I understand it. Like I understand they're getting money from subscriptions, but like you're telling me that they're making 500 million plus just to make their money back.
Yeah.
On Disney Plus subscriptions,
Yeah.
I can't comprehend it. But that's a discussion for another time.
Yeah.
We're talking fan service. How did you think about fan service in this in this series? Did you like it? Was it too much? Do you want more?
I liked it. I feel like if they didn't do the amount they did, I don't know. I feel like it would have been missing something. Like I feel like everything we got, I don't know. I feel like it definitely helped the show. Like I feel like we definitely got a lot
For sure.
But I feel like if we got any more, it might have just been like, okay, yeah, actually would have been like a little more noticeable for sure. But like, I feel like if we didn't get what we got, I don't know if it would have done kind of worse than it even did now. If that kind of makes sense.
Yeah, I don't know. What you said just made me think like, because to answer that question myself, like I don't think it was too much fan service in the grand scheme of things. Like the problem ultimately was there was more of a focus on fan service than there was on story. I think this was more, how can we set up a really cool fan moment as opposed to how can we throw a fan moment into a really great story. Cause yeah, I think the fan service was done really well. Something I didn't notice originally, but when Obi-Wan slices Vader's helmet, that's to explain where Vader gets his scar. And Return of the Jedi, to take his helmet off, he has a massive scar across his head. And the episode 2 of Obi-Wan Kenobi, he doesn't have that scar. So when he slices the helmet, so like that's a cool moment. Or when he's in the graveyard seeing Jedi and things. And then obviously you have like your Qui-Gon Jinn and your very obvious moments. But yeah, like I think that was really brilliantly done, where there's lots of Easter eggs and fan service that's sprinkled in there for every level of Star Wars fan. But I think there's just too much emphasis on it in the creation process.
I do agree. There should have been a way stronger interest in story than fan service. I wish they would have had more.
And I don't know. I don't like talking about problems and not having solutions for them. Because at that point, you're just like,
Just complaining.
yeah, you're just complaining. I think the perfect way to do fan service is Endgame. I think anyone that wants to incorporate that just needs to like copy Endgame, because that movie is straight fan service.
But it was
incredible. It was not too much, and it was still a brilliantly written story. And even moments. I mean, I think the most fan servicey thing in that movie was Cap picking up Mjolnir.
For sure.
I don't know, I guess you should say spoilers for a different movie.
If you haven't seen it,
but I feel like at this point you probably don't care. Like that's the biggest moment, and when you think about it in terms of like the context of the universe, like that doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. That A, he wouldn't have picked it up earlier, B, that like he can like just knows how to use it. But Marcus McFeely, he wrote the screenplay we're talking, they're like, that's just one of those things where like we had an opportunity.
They took it.
We knew it was going to be awesome. The fans were going to love it. They weren't going to care.
One of the biggest like audience theater reaction I think I've ever
been
Absolutely. A part of, listened to, seen several times. It's
it was done so well.
One of the most memorable theater experiences I've had, hands down.
That's like top 5 moments of like my life. If I could go back in time, I think we talked about this before. If I could go back in time, I just want to go in that theater again.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's a weird side tangent. Endgame did fan service right. It was brilliant, really well done, and Star Wars has done it well in the past as well. Like, one moment similar to that is in Rise of Skywalker. Despite its downfalls, like when Rey lifts the X-wing, initially, they had Rey's theme, or I think it was the Force theme. John Williams wrote the Force theme in, and J.J. Abrams went to him and was like, "Hey, that music's wrong." And John Williams was like, "What do you mean? That she's using the Force, so I put the Force theme in." And he was like, "No, but like, she's lifting the X-wing like from Empire." And he's like, "Yeah, but that's Yoda's theme." And he's like, "It's fine. The fans will get it." And yeah, like that's one of those things where, I mean, most people probably aren't going to notice that, but I'm a massive music nerd. Yeah. And so I noticed like, that's not the right theme song, but also like, it was really cool. And I was like, okay, I see what they're doing. Like subtle fan service is like, I don't know, it's a lot of fun when you can get it. Yeah. But also like, that's not distracting. Like it doesn't ruin what's going on. Right. It's just a little tidbit that just enhances the experience. It brings you deeper into this massive world. Are there any examples you can think of that have just like awful fan service? Like this was too much. I didn't need this. I think this show has it in Luke and Leia. I didn't need to see them in this show. Yeah. Leia, I can forgive. At least she was used as like an inciting incident.
She was like a character in the show.
I did not need to see Luke.
No.
I had no desire to see him. I wasn't expecting him.
Like, I honestly think in the beginning, like in the first episode when he's like, obviously like checking on Luke, he's there to protect Luke.
That's fine.
That's fine. Different. I don't think they should have ever gone back. I don't think he ever should have been there at the end. I thought that was definitely overused. It's just pointless.
So yeah, that's a perfect example of like good fan service. Yeah. Show Luke in the distance, pretending he's flying an X-wing. Right. Great.
He's a kid.
Taking it too far, making an entire episode about him for no reason. And honestly, kind of destroying the canon and the established memories that we have from the original trilogy with this weird thing. I don't know. And you can say the thing for Leia too, like, if you're doing some like mental gymnastics, I guess you can say like, oh, Obi-Wan told her like if they ever talk, like they can't know that like they know each other. So when she reaches out and they're like General Kenobi, it's like, hey, like I know that you know that I know that you know, like it's like I don't know. You can do some mental gymnastics, but I don't want to do that. I just don't.
It's a very complicated way of.
Yeah. I think that's another thing we'd say about the show is that they just overcomplicated some things. Like
those little tidbits that are just easy to pick up on, that are little tidbits, are worth it because that's what they are. But those things that are incorporated that make you think way too far, way too much, that's not enjoyable.
Here's another discussion I've had, not just with this show, but like in general with lots of things. Like, do we really need a story for every little thing? Like, for example, Vader's scar. Never once have I watched Return of the Jedi and thought, I wonder where that scar came from. Especially after watching Revenge of the Sith and seeing that he was like the cat like sliced in half crisped. And was just like burned to death. Like I never once thought. I wonder if like something else happened. Do we really need all of that?
No. I don't. That's the thing. It's like no one asked for it. No one needs it.
And I don't know. Maybe that's a bit of like a too deep of an example. What about? Okay, I've got one.
Okay.
So Boba Fett in Clone Wars before Disney shut it down, as you talked about earlier. This animation takes a long time to make, so like they had several seasons planned out and they had stuff in the works. And one of the episodes they had in the works was a Boba Fett episode where he was going to meet Cad Bane and they were going to have an epic duel. You can see like a very early render of it on YouTube. And it explains where Boba Fett got his dent and his helmet, and Boba kills Cad Bane. It's a cool moment. Like, do we need stuff like that where it's like, oh, like I wonder how I got the dent? Or to be honest, I feel like here pretty soon we're gonna find out how like C-3PO has a silver leg instead of a gold one, or like, like.
Yeah.
Do you even care? Like,
see, for those little things, like, no, I don't care. Like, if it was like I don't know, like if it was like blatantly like pointed out, like why 3PO got a silver leg, and then everyone's like, I wonder why, and it's just never explained, and then they were like kind of explained it down the road in a future something, then sure, I'd be like, oh, that makes sense. They kind of like explained that for us, but like no one's asking for that. Like I do think the whole like Boba Fett helmet thing, like that is kind of cool, especially that we got to see that. Especially we got to see that live action too. Is really dope. But again,
we didn't get to see it live action.
Did he not give the dent in Book of Boba Fett? He killed Bane?
No, because takes place after everything. So he's had the.
Oh, that's right.
That we didn't do an episode on Book of Boba Fett, but say we said that in our Boba Fett episode, but we didn't do that.
Yeah,
that wasn't a thing. Like that was one of my biggest complaints with that. It was like it.
That's what we didn't get.
If you were gonna have Cad Bane, because like in Clone Wars, like that's when he kills Cad Bane, and I think that's what makes those moments cool. Is if you have a really cool story and they said, okay, like let's kill off Cad Bane. We've used him enough. They already had a really great story, and they said, oh, while they're doing this, what if Cad Bane also shot and like got Boba's helmet? It also kind of gives Boba a little humility in the moment, like he could almost die, but his father was protecting him. Like that's a lot of really great moments that Dave Filoni is really great at like setting up and executing on. So moments like I think, like you said, like I don't really care. I don't need a whole series on. Yeah, I don't know. Like I'm waiting. I guarantee it. In the next 5 years, we're gonna get some series about how the weird bug-eyed bartender from the sequel trilogy got Anakin's
or whatever.
Yeah. How she got the Skywalker lightsaber. Like, just wait, it's gonna happen. And like, I don't really care.
Here's the thing. I don't think like that's with these like fan service little things. Like no one ever asks for them. I think it's really how it's like what is done and how it's done in the moment. That's the only way anyone's gonna appreciate it. Like if it's done well, sure. Like that was fun. That was interesting. But like that's the thing is like no one's asking for it. If someone's got an idea and they're like, hey, let's do this. Like I think they just take a risk on it regardless. I don't think anyone really sets up like, hey, has this been asked for? Are they really looking for this? Or like, will anyone pick up on this? Because like when it goes back to the music thing, like sure, like not all people like I personally would never pick that up on. Like I listen to music, I like it, and I enjoy it, but I would have never actually noticed that. But sure, it is cool. Like don't get me wrong, I think that's cool too. But like yeah, any of these other little things like the scar. I don't like when it happened. I was just like, oh, dope. Like, yeah, that makes sense. And they had a lot of the up close shots of the mask and his voice switching back and forth. Like that was just a really cool scene in general, like all in all. But again, like, no, I didn't care. I never had the thought in my head where'd that scar come from, you know?
Right.
So it's, yeah. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah. I like fan service, but like, let's just keep it contained. Let's use it sparingly. Like, I mean, in the Boba Fett example, like it's a storytelling element at that point. It's not just an Easter egg. Right. I think that's the difference between like an Easter egg and fan service. You know, we talked about Pixar last week. Like, you know, Pixar does all sorts of Easter eggs where you have like A113 and all sorts of stuff,
characters,
like
things like that.
Right,
yeah.
like that's just there to go look for. But I think fan service should be a little deeper than that. Yeah. I think sometimes it's they don't. I think people don't always know like what to do with it, and so it's kind of fan service, but it's also just kind of an Easter egg.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think, if you're going to use fan service, like make it a part of the story. Don't make the story serve the fan service.
Honestly, that's kind of one thing we didn't have the greatest comments on Jurassic World Dominion. But like that's what I'm kind of thinking back to is like we had that dude in the theater that just called that every stupid little Easter egg. But that's the thing is like they had so many fun little things thrown in there that were definitely fan service. That kind of worked well. I just don't think it wasn't like it was one of those things where no one's going to complain that they were in there because they were fun little like Easter eggs. They weren't overly done. They weren't like thrown in your face. Like if you noticed it or if we had a guy in the theater that noticed it for us, sure, it made the movie just a little enjoyable, you know? I think that's kind of, I feel like when it is more or less an Easter egg, it is way better off. Because here's the thing, if you watch the movie for the 7th time and you're just like, oh, shoot, I never picked that up on the first time, you get something new after watching it 7 times, whatever, you know? And I feel like, definitely, I don't know, fan service can, really be up in the air with how it's done.
We're kind of going to go off on what this whole thing is. We're just going to go way off. Just because I had a question. I'm curious what your thoughts are.
Okay.
Are there any characters like Obi-Wan that you're just like, hey, I wonder like what they're up to? Like, would you be interested in a Mace Windu show or something like that?
I would honestly love that. Really. Like Mace Windu. He was just, Samuel Jackson is just dope, man. So when it comes to being a Star Wars fan, I got to admit, I'm not as in depth with my knowledge as all of you guys. So truly, I couldn't tell you. There is a lot. There's a lot. And when it comes to like you and like a lot of the guys, you know, you guys do know way more of the details and stuff. I mean, I'm definitely way more of a hardcore Marvel fan than I am Star Wars, but I love them both a lot. I don't really know who's like still out there. And like a character, I don't know why. I actually do know why, because I have a little action figure toy thing of him. Kit Fisto, I thought was dope as hell.
Kit Fisto is dope.
I thought he was literally the coolest dude ever. He was in Attack of the Clones, right? Second one. Yeah.
And he was in Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah, freaking loved him. Literally so dope. I would love to see more on him. I really would. I'm pretty sure he's dead.
Maybe? Yeah, Palpatine wrecked him.
That's what I thought. Okay, that's what I thought. But like, I don't know. If they did like some sort of like original, it's just like basically did like an origin story or like backstory on those characters. Like we see so many like Jedi.
Yeah.
That was
I was gonna say the exact same thing. Like even if they did like a Sith style, like give us like Count Dooku, give us like some of those other characters. Could be interesting.
Like I would,
Like, I know I do want to get away from this whole.
Like we're stuck on the Skywalker
from this whole era.
Yeah.
Like that is what I'm excited for with Taika Waititi. I don't think he's gonna do a Thor kind of remodel. I think it's gonna be. I mean, he directed Mando season 1 finale, and it felt like Star Wars. He's directing more.
Wait, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's really cool. Okay.
He's directing a few episodes in season 3. He isn't like a one-hit wonder kind of thing. Like he has versatility.
Yeah. 100%.
But I'm excited for it just because I'm excited to see just a totally new era with different, endless possibilities for stories.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like Mace Windu is cool. we don't really know a whole lot about him.
Right.
Or like, I don't know, I'd like to see more of him, or like, Kit Fisto, Keanu Mundy. Like, there's a lot of characters like I would love to see more of. The big thing for me is like one of my biggest complaints with the prequels is like the whole Clone Wars in general is like, it started because this Jedi like went to Kamino and was like, hey, we're going to make an army, and no one knows about it. And then they're like, oh, hey, you guys have an army, by the way. And Yoda's just like, oh, that's convenient. Cool. Let's go to war with them. Like, no one puts 2 and 2 together that, wait, something's a little fishy here.
Right.
I don't know. I would like to see
like the creation of the army.
I'd like to see something like, the downfall of the Jedi and like what they actually stand for.
Yeah.
Into where they are.
That would be super dope.
In the Grand Republic era. Graham, do you have any final thoughts on Obi-Wan Kenobi or fan service or anything
overall,
along that realm?
I've liked the show. Like I said, as of anything that we review or watch in today's time, there's going to be something we do like and something we don't like. Mm-hmm. This I did like a lot. I did enjoy it. It was fun to see it. We got to hear the hello there. Like, again, like, I thought it was terribly placed, but...
Well, we got to hear it a couple of times, but like, can we just talk about how Ewan McGregor like somehow managed to say it just like he did in the prequels, but also just like Alec Guinness in A New Hope, like
so good.
It was so good.
It was so good. Yeah, but no, overall, loved the show. I really did. I liked it a lot. I would sit down and watch it again. That's kind of how I always rank things. If I would sit and watch it again, or if I would pay for a subscription to watch it again, I think it's worth it.
Yeah, no, I also, again, I know we said more negative things than positive, but like, I did really enjoy the show. I just like to nitpick things. And if you like the show and we didn't, or if you didn't like the show and we did, that's okay. You have your own opinion. This has been the Popcorn Hangover. We've been talking Obi-Wan Kenobi and fan service and things. Let us know what your thoughts were on Obi-Wan Kenobi on Instagram, TikTok, all the things. Follow us on Patreon, patreon.com/popcornhangover. And that's all I got.
We'll see you in the next one. Peace.